Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing great out there. So we are moving on to part 6 of our reloading 38 special with our 158 grain Hornady XTP bullets. So this project, it's gone on a little bit longer than I thought it would, but hey, when you do reloading, sometimes that's the way it happens. Also too, it's been summertime, and you know how summertime is, vacations, doing a lot of stuff outside, all that. Quite honestly, I typically don't really reload that much in summer. It tends to be more of a fall through spring activity for me. So you'll see more videos coming up on reloading as we get into the cooler months and all that. But yeah, so we're moving on with this project here. We've loaded up our final batch. What I did was I went ahead and upped the powder charge to 5.0 grains, taking in a little allowance for some variation, because whenever I weighed up the charges, it bounced around a little between 5 and 5.1. And that's kind of the way Unique is. It's a big flaky powder. It doesn't meter all that great. So that, according to the Hornady manual, is pretty much the max load. So, you know, the thing is with this whole project is that Unique works okay. I think in the last round that we did, it did okay, but to me, I'm just not seeing where it's like great in this situation. And one of the things that you're going to run into if you reload long enough is that not all projects are always going to work out. It's kind of like baking a cake or making cookies. It's a lot of it is dependent on the ingredients and how that all comes together. And quite often with reloading, depending on the brass, the powder, the bullet, the primer, perhaps even the gun as well, it's a thing where sometimes things just don't come together cohesively. And that's just the way it is. Now on YouTube, a lot of times, folks that watch videos and stuff, they have an expectation that there's always going to be a happy ending. And, you know, sometimes, as you'll find if you do this long enough, that's not always the case. And so when you run into those issues or whatever, you start to look for alternatives. So one of the things in this situation that we can't really change is, one, the bullet. So we've kind of focused on those 158 grain bullets. That's what we got sitting on the shelf. That's what we're using. So that's not going to change. The brass, at least at this moment in time, is just kind of mixed master brass of just various brands or whatever. That's not going to change. I've already primed hundreds of rounds, hundreds of cases with S&B primers. So maybe would CCI primers work better? I don't know. Maybe, you know, I tend to prefer CCI primers, but hey, we got all those cheap S&B primers from years ago, so I'm going to use those up. So what is the one variable we can change? And that is the powder. So Unique so far isn't really kind of kicking it for us. I think what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to Power Pistol. So I was looking at the Hornady manual and kind of going through with this bullet, you know, what other powders did they do or whatever. What have I got on the shelf as well? So Power Pistol came up in their little list there in the data. And the thing was, I was thinking was, you know, I had great success with Power Pistol in 9mm. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go out and we're going to kind of finish this up. We have 20 rounds of the Unique at 5.0 loaded up, and we're just going to kind of wrap it up with Unique, see where we end up, see what we think. Maybe we'll get some better results. Who knows? If we get some decent results, you know, I might end up loading a batch of these before we move on to Power Pistol. But I can tell you right now that I think I've already made the decision that we're going to go ahead and in part 7, we'll move on to Power Pistol. We'll try to work up a load with that. And if we get a really satisfactory load with this, where it's really doing what I want it to do, then we'll go ahead and stop. And, you know, if it's kind of so-so, well, we'll look at other powders. But I've decided I'm going to keep going till I find a powder combination powder basically that's going to work well with these bullets, and that's kind of the goal. So what we're going to do is pack everything up, head up to the range. We'll go ahead and set the chrono up. We'll test it through the chrono, see what we get. We'll put some rounds on cardboard, see what we get, and then we'll wrap it up. Shoot a string and see what we get. $8.13. $7.12. Okay. $7.04. $6.19. That doesn't sound right. Okay. $6.72. $6.84. Okay, so those results were kind of a little bit inconsistent there. So what I went ahead and did is just to be on the safe side, just move the chronograph back about a foot, but I should have plenty of distance from it where there should be no big interference or anything like that. So, you know, we'll see. We'll go ahead and shoot another 6 shots and see what we get. $6.23. $7.76. $6.87. $6.40. $6.73. All right. All right, folks, so how did that go? Well, I think it sucked. So one of the things I'll tell you is that before I came up here to do the shooting, one of the things that I noticed with the Manurhin was that the cylinder didn't really spin freely, and that was because there was so much crud junked up in there from the previous videos that we did with Unique. And that is one thing I do find with Unique, is that it does tend to be a bit more gummy and create more residue. So that is one thing about it. Then the other thing was results from the chronograph. So let's have a look at that. And well, I called them out in the video. You should be able to hear them in the video, but if you didn't, anyways, that's where it kind of came out at. And, you know, we're all over the damn place there. So that was concerning. And the other thing I did on the second string was just to check to make sure I wasn't too close to the chrono or anything. I pushed the chrono back about a foot or so. You know, and I had plenty of distance between it, so I don't think, shooting too close to it. You know, probably a good 4 or 5 feet away. So shouldn't be any issues with interference or anything. But yeah, we were kind of all over the place. And you know, so as far as I know, from what I could tell, I think the powder charges were relatively consistent. Like I said, now with Unique, you do have those issues where you trying to get it down within 1/10 of a grain. There's a little bit of variation there due to the flakiness of it. But yeah, it just, I don't know, just maybe it doesn't like the primers. Who knows? But the first shot we did on the upper left, I only had 8 rounds left because I didn't anticipate shooting that second string, because I thought, the first string, that should be good enough. I don't need to shoot a second. But it turned out, because the results were so off, I thought, well, let me shoot a second string and see. But anyways, first shot there, you know, that was dead on. And keep in mind, we're shooting from over 20 yards as well. So first shot there, dead on. The second shot up there in the upper right, not too bad. But whenever we shot the string at 6 there, definitely it was a bit off. And we had kind of a much wider group, kind of all over the place. So I would like to see that group probably about half the size maybe, for just over 20 yards. And some of the rounds are a little close together, but again, you know, if we're getting that feet per second variation like we are, to the extent we might be, anywhere from low 600s up to low 800s, to me, you know, that's a hell of a lot there for something like 38 special. So we need to be a bit tighter. So I think what we've done is we've reached the limits of unique. And again, we can't totally blame it on the powder. It could be the primer, whatever. But for whatever reason, it's not gelling. This little recipe here, it's not really gelling. So, you know, like I said earlier in the video, sometimes that's the way it is with reloading, and stuff is not going to work out as you intended and everything. But that's okay. So you learn from different things and you move on. So next up, we're going to move on to Power Pistol. Let's give Power Pistol a go and see what Power Pistol will do, and if we can get some better, more consistent results. And well, if that's flaky, we'll try something else. And I will tell you this, right now at my local gun store, you know, I have powder myself of different types, but my local gun store, they've got like 5 different powders on the shelf, and that's it. So you know, I might have to do some looking around and seeing if there's other powders out there that are good for 38. So down below, if you want, if there's a powder that you like using for 38 special, list it down below and let me know what your favorites are. Always interested to hear all that stuff. So anyways, folks, signing off for this one. We'll see you on the next one with Power Pistol, and we'll see where that ends up, and I'm looking forward to it. Bye-bye.